The Kurakhovo cauldron has closed. The 79th Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has been encircled. Good afternoon, dear friends. I'm glad to see you on my channel. Here, we analyze the frontline situation daily, review maps, assess advances, and draw conclusions and forecasts regarding how certain developments might impact the overall state of the front. Today we'll discuss the Siversk direction, where there have been significant and very important changes. We will definitely touch upon this. Additionally, we'll talk about the situation in the Kursk region, which we haven't analyzed in a while. Let's get started right away by opening the map. We'll begin today's discussion with the Siversk direction. I'll start by saying that there haven't been any significant territorial gains, but the changes over the past week are far more important than capturing a settlement. Therefore, I believe it's essential to inform you about them. So what happened here? There has been a complete reshuffling of personnel. These are not just dismissals or reassignments, but actual arrests. For those unaware, I'll explain. Commanders in this direction have been lying to military and political leadership for months, even years, about their successes. Take a look at the map. Bilohorivka, Hryhorivka, and Serebryanka are marked in yellow. What does the yellow color signify? On this map, yellow means claimed control by the Russian army without any confirmation through objective monitoring data. In other words, on paper and in reports, these areas were captured. But in reality, do you know where Russian forces are located? Let's examine this section and see how many kilometers of progress were falsely reported. From this point to Serebryanka, it's nearly 11 kilometers, including 3 well-fortified settlements. According to the reports, Russian positions were in Serebryanka, just 3 kilometers from Siversk. However, in reality, this area is held by Ukrainian forces. Senior leadership, trusting the accuracy of these reports, made decisions based on them. This led to significant casualties because Russian forces were not present in areas where they were reported to be. Moreover, local commanders, aware that their reports did not reflect the real situation and that this would eventually be exposed, took criminal measures to seize territories that were already claimed to have been captured on paper. Bilohorivka, Hryhorivka, Serebryanka, Vyimka, and so on. Why do I call these measures criminal? Because soldiers were sent on suicidal assaults without air or artillery support. Why no support? Because on paper, Bilohorivka, for example, was under Russian control. This meant they couldn't request an airstrike with FAB bombs on Bilohorivka. After all, how can you bomb your own positions? This situation was reported by many war correspondents, military bloggers, and others. And just a couple of weeks ago, after months of futile assaults, thousands of soldiers lost, and hundreds of damaged vehicles, senior leadership finally decided to inspect the area. They wanted to visit Bilohorivka, Hryhorivka, and Serebryanka. However, it turned out that these areas were under the control of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU. The only way for them to visit would have been to surrender, as there was no other option. As a result, 3 brigade commanders were arrested, and the deputy commander of the entire grouping was dismissed. This happened on November 18th. Yesterday, the commander of the South grouping, Colonel General Gennady Anashkin, was also relieved of his duties. Decisions were made, leading to dismissals, arrests, and consequently new leadership, which will hopefully avoid deception. This suggests that we can expect increased activity in this direction on the ground soon. Now, let's move on to areas where reports are accurate and real progress is recorded. Let's turn to the map and review the situation in the Kursk region, which we haven't discussed for some time. I'll say right away, the situation there is complicated. First, the weather. It has been raining for several days, making roads muddy and difficult for vehicles to navigate. This also disrupts drone operations on both sides. Nevertheless, the intensity of the fighting remains high. On the Russian side, there have been some notable successes. The first is the complete capture of the settlement of Daryino, achieved by the men of the 51st Regiment of the 106th Airborne Division. The southern farms, which were the last stronghold of the AFU, fell yesterday. Now, the troops are beginning assault operations in the area of Mykolaiivka-Daryino. I've seen some large telegram channels claim that this village has already been liberated. I can responsibly state that this is not true. Yes, the troops of the 1st Regiment have entered the outskirts and are preparing for assault operations. But entering the outskirts does not mean taking full control of the village. So, let's not jump the gun. Once success is confirmed and the village of Mykolaievka Daryino comes under the full control of the 51st Regiment, I will report it. What else can I say about the Kursk region? Extremely fierce battles are ongoing in Novaya Ivanovka. Here, the fight is literally for every house and every meter, without exaggeration. This village has gained strategic importance due to its location on the Zelony Shliak-Malaya-Lochnia highway. Full control of the village would provide an excellent launching pad for further offensives eastward toward Viktorivka or southward toward Sverdlivka. The AFU understands this as well. Conversely, if they succeed, it would give them a strong defensive line and force Russian troops to retreat from Zelony Shliak, as logistics would be completely cut off. Therefore, the struggle for every meter is so intense. On the Russian side, the 56th Regiment of the 7th Airborne Division is involved, while the AFU's elite 47th Brigade is engaged on the other side. A few words about the large Olhinka forest. All AFU units that were encircled there have either surrendered or remained in the forest. This area is now fully under the control of Russian forces. Regarding the Kursk region, that's all for now. As I said, the weather there is poor, so battles are fierce in certain areas, while the front is essentially static elsewhere. One more thing to mention is about Kurakhovo. In the south, a cauldron, though a small one, has closed. There are larger cauldrons, and then there are smaller ones within those. Most of this semi-cauldron, southeast of Kurakhovo, has come under the control of the Russian armed forces. Here's what happened. There was an advance toward Romanivka. As a result, 2 settlements, Yelizavetivka and Ilinka, were completely encircled. The only way out now for the AFU would be to break through under fire, as the cauldron has closed. Previously, they had a chance to withdraw, even under fire from drones and artillery, via the road. Now that opportunity is gone. The push toward Romanivka, spanning several kilometers, was successful for Russian forces, and the cauldron was thus sealed. As for Kurakhovo itself, there hasn't been any significant progress within the city yet. The fighting continues in the area of multi-story buildings. North of the city in the Berestkiv area, we are still present in the northern part and holding positions. The Russians are advancing only to the west. In Kurakhove itself, fighting is taking place in the area of School 5. In the southern direction, the Russians broke through the landings to the Suki Yali River and are beginning to consolidate near Romanivka, thereby cutting off the Ukrainian strongholds in Ilinka and Yelizavetovka. There is only one way out. This is to break through with battles to the Krai Cossacks above, until it starts to crumble and form 2 cauldrons. In the Trudovoye area, the Russian armed forces are clearing the stronghold west of the ponds and are gradually moving towards another large stronghold near Uspenivka. Overall, that's the update on the front for today. Stay tuned and once again, subscribe to the channel